Welcome to every movie I've ever seen. Today, the movie that I'm going to be talking about is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the fifth Harry Potter movie based on the Harry Potter books, a very popular book series and I would say, also popular movie series. I have read the books. It's been a while. Been a long time since I've read the books. Definitely maybe 5 years or more. Have read them a couple times. I like the books. It's an easy, enjoyable read. I mean, they're nothing special, but it's easy reading, like popcorn. I think that's a term that's used. Easily consumable. Nothing truly special, but a lot of people like it. A lot of people can. It's easy for people to get into. The movies, on the other hand, aren't all that great. I think you have a lot more bad than you have good when it comes to the movies, and particularly with Order of the Phoenix, you got a lot of bad. This is definitely the worst movie of the Harry Potter franchise, which only makes it even more disappointing when Order of the Phoenix is probably the best Harry Potter book. I don't know. Maybe that was the problem. When you have books like the first two books, which are okay, it's easier to make a movie and have that movie be passable like the first two movies were. But then when you get to the book that's probably the best of the book series, it's a lot harder to do that. It's a lot harder to do that book justice, and this movie doesn't. I really don't like this movie. I've got a list of my favorite movies and my least favorite movies, and this is definitely on my least favorite list somewhere. It's relatively high up on my least favorite movies list, so, there's several movies that I like a lot less than Order of the Phoenix, but there's, hundreds of movies that I like more than Order of the Phoenix. So it doesn't fare too well. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to pinpoint why this movie is bad. It's just, I don't know. It's so empty, kind of, in a way. There's a lot. It's the biggest book, I believe. It's the longest book. Maybe second longest after Deathly Hallows, but I do believe it's the longest of the book, and there's a lot in it, and there's a lot of good stuff in the book. It is the best book. And there's just a whole lot missing out of this movie, and it feels forced, honestly. And I'll say that about most of the movies, most of the later movies. They feel forced, like they're going through the motions of adapting a book. Like, you'll see these moments where they will quote the book, like they will say a line of the book, almost complete quote, word for word, and it just doesn't feel natural. It's like, that's not how people talk. That's how people talk in a book. That they don't talk like that in the movie, and because there's so little time, they're rushing, So it just feels extremely unnatural that this character will say these 3 or 4 sentences so quickly, so fast. Like, no one thinks on their feet that much. That's why I really, despise some of the writing in the MCU movies, because they all talk in quips, and people don't speak like that. It's like The Walking Dead. They introduce the Abraham character, who's basically a cartoon. He doesn't speak like a normal person, and they had the the mullet asshole, he doesn't speak like a normal person either. It really bothers me when people in movies or TV shows don't talk like human beings. I don't know. But, honestly, the movies, these Harry Potter movies, they really just started phoning it in, I think, after, I want to say after Prisoner of Azkaban, but Goblet of Fire was, still kind of decent. I feel like that was a pretty good representation of that book. Uh, I don't think the book was anything special. That might have been my least favorite book. I don't know. But Prisoner of Azkaban was a pretty decent movie, honestly. I mean, you had a really good director there, Alfonso Cuarón. You had a good director, and that makes for a lot, And I don't know about David Yates, who kind of, I think, took over the Harry Potter franchise. At least Order of the Phoenix. I don't know who directed Goblet of Fire, but I know David Yates kind of took over for at least the last 3 or 4, and then now he's doing the Fantastic Beasts movie, which are even worse than any of these Harry Potter movies. So I think it's maybe he's the problem. I don't know. And John Williams isn't doing the score, which John Williams doing the score always helps. I feel like you forget John Williams did the score for at least the first Harry Potter movie. I don't know how long he stuck around for. But you had like in the earlier Harry Potter movies, you had decent talent behind them. I think John Williams doing the score. Didn't like Chris Columbus direct the first one or two? Then I mentioned Alfonso Cuarón directed the third one. But yeah, they just started phoning it in with these Harry Potter movies. They knew that they had everybody, they had everybody hook, line, and sinker, so that they knew they could just ease back a little bit, not try too hard. Like, oh, what if we split the last book into 2 movies? We can make double the money. Clever idea there. You started a bad little trend there, splitting your movie up. The Hunger Games and Hobbit and Divergent. I don't even think we saw the last Divergent movie. It was like going to be a TV show, but then they never actually made it into a TV show. It's just kind of like in the air. They probably would have split up the Percy Jackson movies if those titles weren't just too goddamn long. And yeah, so I guess that's all I've got to say about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.